السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين، أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه والتابعين وتابعيهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, inshallah we start with one or two benefits from the benefits of Imam Ibn al-Qayyim in his book that he titled Al-Fawa'id, or the benefits. He speaks about the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from Surah Al-Mulk ayah 15, هو الذي جعل لكم الأرض ذلولا فامشوا في مناكبها وكلوا من رزقه وإليه النشور. He is the one who made for you the earth subservient, who made the earth for your service, humbled it for you, that is for your usage, made it easy for you to use. فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا, so walk in its sides, in its parts, and eat, and as we will hear from Al-Imam Ibn al-Qayyim, the word manakib could be the different parts of it, its sides, its mountains, its the different parts on it, the land itself. But he chooses that it's the higher parts of the land. وَكُلُوا مِنْ رِزْقِهِ, and eat of his provision or his sustenance. وَإِلَيْهِ النُّشُورِ, and to him is the resurrection. To him you will be resurrected. Here the Shaykh says, أخبر سبحانه أنه جعل الأرض ذلولا منقادة للوطء عليها وحفرها وشقها والبناء عليها ولم يجعلها مستصعبة ممتنعة على من أراد ذلك منها. He says that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informed here that He made the earth humbled, He made it subservient, He made it for the service. It will be easy for the usage of the human being. He will walk on it, he can dig it, he can open up parts of it, build on top of it. Allah did not make the earth difficult and hard for the human who wants to do any of these things on it, walking, building, and so on, so digging, and so on and so forth. The intention, he said, or the objective, is that He subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made the earth كالجمل الذلول. He made the earth like the camel who will be easy for its owner to take it, to bring it, to ride it, to do whatever with it. Jamal Dhalul. So they call the camel who is easy for his owner to take it, bring it, you do whatever with it. This is the word used, Dhalul. So that word is used for the earth here. The land is made Dhalul. Right? So it will help you to do, it will assist you to do whatever you want on it. He said here, manakibiha, the word that is used, manakib. He said that it is beautiful, using the expression of manakib, to walk in its different manakib here. It did not say streets or roads. لم يقل يعني طرق وفجاج. حسن التعبير بمناكبها عن طرقها وفجاجها لما تقدم من وصفها بكونها ذلولا. He said that it is beautiful to express here that you walk in its manakib and not in its streets and its roads, because of what has already preceded of describing the land to be dhalul, subservient, humbled, at the service of the human beings. So الماشي عليها يطأ على مناكبها وهو أعلى شيء فيها. He says, so the one who walks on it, he walks on the manakib, which is the highest part of it. ولهذا فسرت المناكب بالجبال كمناكب الإنسان وهي أعاليه. This is why the scholars of tafsir, he says, they explained the word manakib as the mountains. So فَامْشُوا فِي مَنَاكِبِهَا, so walk through or on its mountains, right? So you can walk on the highest part of it. It's made at your service in a way that you walk even on the highest part of it. He said, كَمَنَاكِبِ الْإِنسَانِ وَهِيَ أَعَالِيهِ, like the manakib for the human being, and these are the highest parts. The manakib, mankab, is the shoulder. So the manakib, mankibain, this is the two shoulders, right? So the word manakib is used for the land here. So walk on its mountains, walk on its highest parts, walk on its highest parts. And he mentioned, he said that وَذَلِكَ تَنْبِيهٌ عَلَى أَنَّ الْمَشْيَ فِي سُهُولِهَا أَيْسَرٌ. And this is actually highlighting and bringing to attention the fact that walking on the valleys is even more easier than that. So if you can walk easily, it is made at your service to walk on the mountains, which are the highest part of it. So what do you think about utilizing or walking through the valleys? It's even much easier than that. And he said that there are scholars who said that the manakib, al-manakib al-jawanib wal-nawahi, its sides and different places in it, right? But he chooses that the manakib are the highest parts. He chooses that the manakib are the highest parts. Then he says, the ayah, تضمنت الآية الدلالة على ربوبيته ووحدانيته وقدرته وحكمته ولطفه. This ayah guides us to the fact that Allah is the Lord, the Creator, the Sustainer, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the one who controls the universe, that He is one. It proves His oneness also, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It proves His ability, qudra, and it proves His hikmah, wisdom, and His lutf, which is the subtle mercy and subtle kindness of His Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. It is also inclusive of التذكير بنعمه وإحسانه, reminding us of His favors, His bounties and kindness. والتحذير من الركون إلى الدنيا واتخاذها وطنا ومستقرا. It is inclusive of also in the ayah, it includes warning against the worldly life, the worldly pleasures, completely relying upon the worldly pleasures or the life of this world, and to take it as a home and as an eternal abode, وطن ومستقر. بل نسرع فيها السير إلى داره وجنته. He said rather we should rush to walk on it to His dar, His home, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, His house, and His Jannah, His paradise. He said فلله ما في ضمن هذه الآية من معرفته وتوحيده والتذكير بنعمه. He said, by Allah, how wonderful this ayah is in terms of making us know Allah and His oneness and reminding us of His favor. والحث على السير إليه والاستعداد للقائه, and encouraging us to walk on the path to Him and to prepare ourselves to meet with Him, والقدوم عليه, and to come upon Him or towards Him. والإعلام بأنه سبحانه يطوي هذه الدار كأن لم تكن, and informing us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will completely finish, fold up, bring to end this life as if it was not there at all. وأنه يحيي أهلها بعدما أماتهم وإليه النشور, and reminding us of the fact that He gives life to its people after He caused them to die, and to Him they will be returned, to Him they will be resurrected. The next benefit from Al-Imam Ibn Al-Qayyim, he talks about the causes of the human perfection, the causes leading to the perfection of the human being, to the completion or the complete aspects, or a human being completing his qualities, right? And therefore becoming happy. He says that the human being has two types of powers. للإنسان قوتان، قوة علمية نظرية وقوة عملية إرادية. He says that the human being has two types of powers. A power pertaining to knowledge and thinking, knowledge and reflection. علمية, knowledge, and نظرية, examining things and looking at them, pondering and reflecting. وقوة عملية إرادية, another power that is pertaining to action, doing actions, and a power that has to do with willpower. So two types of powers: knowledge and action. Knowledge, pondering and thinking, reflecting, and the other type of power is the will and doing, the power of will and doing actions. He said سعادته التامة موقوفة على استكمال قوتيه العلمية والإرادية. His complete happiness is based upon, is dependent upon, is pending him perfecting his two types of power, the power of knowledge and the power of will. The power of knowledge and the power of will. The power of will, which if you have the will, you have a way. You are going to do actions, right? So he's just putting them, the power of will or the power of action is the same one, right? طيب. He said استكمال القوة العلمية, perfecting and completing, refining your power, that is the power of knowledge, perfecting it, إنما يكون, it will only be by, he will mention 5 things: بمعرفة فاطره وبارئه, by knowing the one who created him, the one who originated him and fashioned him. ومعرفة أسمائه وصفاته وأفعاله, and knowing his names, his attributes, and his actions سبحانه وتعالى. ومعرفة الطريق التي توصل إليه, and knowing the path, the way, يعني the religion, in other words, the way that leads to him سبحانه وتعالى. ومعرفة نفسه, and knowing his own self. ومعرفة عيوبها, and knowing the flaws and deficiencies of his own self. فبهذه المعارف الخمسة يحصل كمال قوته العلمية. By these 5 aspects or 5 types of knowledge, different types of pieces of knowledge, then he will perfect his power, the power pertaining to knowledge, the knowledge power. He will perfect that by perfecting these 5. أعلم الناس أعرفهم بها وأفقههم فيها. He said that the most knowledgeable amongst the people is the one who is most knowledgeable of these, and most amongst them who comprehensively understands these 5 issues. Once again, they are knowing his creator, knowing his names, attributes, and his actions, knowing the way that leads to him, knowing himself or his own self, and knowing the deficiencies, the flaws, the imperfections within his own self. These are the 5 aspects of knowledge that if you perfect them, then you have perfected the power of knowledge within you. He said, واستكمال القوة العملية الإرادية لا يحصل إلا بمراعاة حقوقه سبحانه على العبد. As for perfecting, shaping, refining your power, the power of action and will that you have, the power of action and will. You know, you have knowledge, you may have knowledge, but you do not act upon knowledge. Or you go the wrong way. So either it's a problem in your understanding and knowledge, or a problem in your action, you're carrying out those things that you know. So you either have a deficiency in the first one or the second one. The one who acts has the zeal and the will to do things but without knowledge ends up being astray. The one who has the knowledge but he does not have the will to act upon that knowledge that one is carrying, then he becomes from those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with, those who earned Allah's wrath and anger. Right? So now he's talking about the perfection of the power of will and action that the human being has. He said it will not be attained except by giving due care to the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon the servant, and to establish those rights ikhlasan, qiyam biha ikhlasan, to establish those rights out of sincerity to Allah, sidqan, truthfully, wa nushan, being completely sincere in that, wa ihsanan, completely perfect in these, wa mutaba'atan, and completely following the way of the Prophet ﷺ in these, وَشُهُودًا لِمِنَّتِهِ عَلَيْهِ, and witnessing, and you're doing the actions, witnessing the favor of Allah upon you by facilitating for you to do these actions. Also witnessing وَتَقْصِيرِهِ هُوَ فِي أَدَاءِ حَقِّهِ, and witnessing the fact that he is falling short in establishing what is a due right for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, فَهُوَ مُسْتَحٍ مِنْ مُوَاجَهَتِهِ بِتِلْكَ الْخِدْمَةِ, so he feels shy of facing Allah with this obedience, with this service that he is doing. لِعِلْمِهِ أَنَّهَا دُونَ مَا يَسْتَحِقُّ عَلَيْهِ, because he knows that this worship that he is offering is less than what is due for Allah, less of what is Allah deserving of subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَدُونَ ذَلِكَ, he said even it's less than that, right? What this acts that we are doing, acts of worship, they are not up to the level to what Allah deserves, rather they are lower than that, right? He said, وأنه لا سبيل إلى استكمال هاتين القوتين إلا بمعونته. The fact that he knows that this servant knows that he will not be able to perfect those two types of powers except by the assistance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he is فهو مضطر إلى أن يهديه الصراط المستقيم الذي هدى إليه أولياءه وخاصته. So he is in a complete dire need that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would guide him to the straight path to which he guided his allies and the special people of his subhanahu wa ta'ala, his allies of the messengers and prophets and the siddiqeen, the truthful ones, الشهداء, the martyrs, الصالحين, the righteous ones. Also, he sees that he has to ask Allah Azza wa Jal أن يجنبه الخروج عن ذلك الصراط, that he has to ask Allah Azza wa Jal to save him from stepping out from that straight path. إما بفساد في قوته العلمية فيقع في الضلال. How would he step out of the straight path? How would he stray from the straight path? Either because of a corruption in the power of knowledge that he has, and therefore he will fall into error, he will fall into misguidance, يقع في الضلال. وإما في قوته العملية فيوجب له الغضب. Or either in his power in terms of action, and he will not practice what he is believing in or what he is preaching, and therefore this, by going against what he knows, having corruption in the power of action, then he will this will necessitate for him the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his wrath. So he said that the perfect or the perfection of the human being and his happiness cannot be attained, cannot be perfect, except by gathering together these matters. And those matters are included in the Surah Al-Fatiha, the opening chapter of the Quran, and it has included these in the most beautiful way. وانتظمتها أكمل انتظام. He said, فأول السورة رحمة. The beginning of Surah Al-Fatiha is رحمة, الرحمن الرحيم. وأوسطها هداية. The middle of it is guidance. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. وآخرها نعمة. The end of it is bounty and favor. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. وحظ العبد من النعمة على قدر حظه من الهداية. The share of the human from the favor and the bounty of Allah is according to his share from his guidance subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get as much bounties and favors and grace as much as guidance he gives you subhanahu wa ta'ala. وحظه منها على قدر حظه من الرحمة. And his share of that guidance and favor is according to his share of the mercy. Remember now, the beginning is mercy, the middle is guidance, the end is favor and bounty. He said his share of the favor and bounty of Allah is in accordance with his share of the guidance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And his share of the guidance is according to his share of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فعاد الأمر كله إلى نعمته ورحمته. So the whole affair is returned now back to his favor and his mercy, which is the beginning and the end of the surah. والنعمة والرحمة من لوازم ربوبيته. The fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows favors, the fact that Allah is graceful or is merciful, this is from the aspects of his lordship. The fact that he is the Lord, the creator, the originator, the sustainer, the one who runs and manages and controls the universe. So فلا يكون إلا رحيما منعما. The one who is Rabb, Lord, he wouldn't be except merciful and bestowing favors and bounties. وذلك من موجبات إلهيته. And this actually is from the aspects that makes him subhanahu wa ta'ala the true God. That makes him subhanahu wa ta'ala the true God. فهو الإله الحق. So he is truly the true God. وإن جحده الجاحدون. Even if those who deny him. وعدل به المشركون. Even if the polytheists, they set up equals to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, فمن تحقق بمعاني الفاتحة علما ومعرفة وعملا وحالا فقد فاز في كماله من كماله بأوفر نصيب، وصارت عبوديته عبودية الخاصة الذين ارتفعت درجتهم عن عوام المتعبدين والله المستعان. He says, so the one who truly knows and understands perfectly the meanings of Al-Fatiha, and within his knowledge he understands them, he knows them علما ومعرفة. Also in terms of action, he applies the information that is contained in Surah Al-Fatiha. And حالا also he brings up his soul, he raises up his soul by purifying and sanctifying his soul with those meanings that are contained in Surah Al-Fatiha. The one who does that, then he would achieve of his perfection with the greatest share, يعني he will perfect his two powers of knowledge and will and action. And his ubudiyah, his servitude, his worship for Allah will become the worship of the special type of people, the special worshippers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his allies, his patrons subhanahu wa ta'ala, those whose level and degree has been risen up or rose up over the worship of the general folks who worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because he fully comprehends and applies those meanings that are contained in the surah Al-Fatiha. Wallahu al-Musta'an. And from Allah we seek the help. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.